As you don't know Mike Mack, you're going to get to know Mike Mack today. He's a staple in this community. As you don't know Mike Mack, you're going to get to know Mike Mack today. He's a staple in this community. So we're going to be going over a whole bunch of good stuff. This is where we're going to do some deals. Mike actually just, what'd you say, 3 AOs from one person?
Yeah, 3.
I love it.
Wow, over it.
Oh, we're going to go over that. I know you've had some challenging deals. We're going to go over that. So going to go over our largest deal that we've done from a Payday 3 perspective. We're going to go over that at some point today as well.
A lot of you asked yesterday about sandwich leases. We're going to hit some of those today as well.
Yep.
But just as a reminder, the exit and the paydays work the same way. They're just more or less profitable based on the principal paid out. So we'll go over some of those, and then a bunch of you guys asked about the boot camp. We'll go over that a little bit later too. And whenever you want, Zach, I got a couple thoughts from this morning as usual.
Yeah, I'd say, and if the profitability on those are different because of taxes too. We found that real fast. So we're going to cover that. We got pivots and common mistakes and questions. Let's go ahead and bring on up Mike Mack. Mike, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How's everybody?
Doing fantastic.
Awesome.
Are excited that you're able to make it here today.
Thank you. Yeah, excited to be here. Ready to go over some deals, get into the weeds of everything. That way everyone understands that you can definitely make it here and make some good money doing so.
Oh, if you could, just because we got a lot of new faces here, can you tell everyone kind of who you are, what you did prior to real estate investing and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so I live out in Central California. I originally came, or I'm full-time now, but beforehand I was in ag sales, so I was selling produce for a grower in the area, and did that for a little over 10 years. It was a great job, paid well, but I just needed to grab control of my life and my schedule, and my wife was expecting at the time, so it really just opened my eyes on, hey, it's not about me anymore. I just have to plan for the future and take control of it, right? And so I came across Chris and the team, and really just never looked back. I love the concept. I'm a numbers guy, so it really resonated very well with what I like to do, and the rest is history. I mean, it's been 2017 when I joined, and it took a little time to get ramped up because I was juggling my W-2 and learning the process and getting everything down. So I had a little bit of a learning curve, but once you get over that learning curve, it's your confidence goes through the roof, and you're able to hone in on the skill set and just build off of that, right? And do really well. You start to see everything in a different light, and you can really break down in any deal in terms, not just single family homes. I mean, you could buy so many different things on terms, and it's great. It's great to have the background now, and I'm excited for the future, excited for everybody else that's here.
Mike, I want to tell about your journey in, because you, like the other person I could think of was Steve Murnick. You were out looking for businesses in a franchise, and when you and I first chatted, your comment was, "Why is High Six so cheap?" Because he was looking at franchise, right? And there's no comparison when you look at the return on what we have. So interesting. So Steve had been looking at large multis, was going to use a HELOC for that instead of use it for High Six. So we tend to attract that because our return is such it's a lot more stronger than looking at those things. Those things don't profit you till sometimes 2, 3, 4 years.
Definitely. Yeah, I've made many times over what I invested into this program here. So,
and Mike's a High Six coach now, guys, which was one of his goals. So those of you that may have missed that, we talked about Mike when he wasn't here. He and I tag team the High Six, and like Rick said, everyone else helps too, but the main calls every week are myself and Mike.
Yep.
Tell us about this most recent deal, because you got 3 AOs, a sign-out deal signed from one particular lady. So walk us through that, and then before I pull up the whiteboard, are all these deals very similar, or are they all completely different structure as far as like price point, profit split, like how?
Yeah, so 2 of them are pretty much the exact same. They're homes that are on the same neighborhood. They're investment properties of hers, and she wants to do something long term, you know, and she wasn't looking just to turn around and flip it. She wanted to make money off of it. And I told her, hey, I can help you structure that. It's in an area that I'm not too, you know, really not too happy about as far as me staying in the middle. So I said I offered the AO, and plus it'd be an opportunity for her to really maximize, you know, her cash flow on a monthly payment. She wants to offer owner financing to the buyer. But we couldn't come together and align on how I was going to make money and how she was going to make money. It just was inflating it too much. You know, it wasn't going to work. So I just pivoted to an AO. And so those 2 are pretty much in the same price range. One's like the 325 and the other one's at 345, I believe. And yeah, we're putting on a 25,000 on each of those as an AO fee. And she's okay with that. And the great part about it is that the buyers won't have to go to bank because she's going to offer long-term financing to them once they hit certain thresholds, right? So I
want to walk through each individual. I just want to know as I will.
Sorry, I went too detailed.
3 times, so I just need to do it twice or once or what?
Oh yeah, so those 2 are the same. Sorry, Zach. No, those 2 are pretty much the same. We can kind of walk through one of a structure with one of those, and then she's doing her primary residence as well, and that was a almost $1.2 million property. We're going to do an AO on that one.
Can I jump in here? I complimented you when you weren't here, so I want to just bring up to date. I said about you and Rick that you tend to knock on an appointment unless you're getting the thing signed. Like you're that confident and specific because you don't waste time. When you were talking to this lady, can you share a little bit about that and your conversations before Zach does all the numbers? Because you told me, I'm going to get, I think I'm going to get them signed. Then that's kind of how you operate. So just talk about that a little bit.
I also want to know where you found this lady.
Yeah, so she was trying to sell her property as a FSBO, and then I just started talking to her. You know, this was, I want to say, probably 4 months ago when I started the conversation. She seemed very receptive on the phone. It was a great lead. She didn't know what to do with her personal situation she was dealing with, so the timing wasn't really right at the time when I first connected with her. And then I followed up with her again, just let her know that I'm there, that I'm still interested. Timing still wasn't right, and then all of a sudden I got a call from her a month after that she's interested in moving forward, and that she has a couple other properties she wants to see what we could possibly do if she were to offer those type of terms to the buyer. Like I said, she's looking to maximize the value in those properties. She also wants to do good within the community. She said it was hard for her to get into a house, so she wants to offer financing to a buyer. So there was multiple reasons why she wanted to do that, and why that is probably better that she stays in it instead of me staying in the middle, and I'll just take my fee and walk out, right? And that way everybody's happy, everybody's moving towards the same goal, and we're working together for it. So that's how it came about.
Love it. Okay,
You guys have questions for Mike as Zach whiteboards this? Type it in the Q&A section, please.
On top of that too, guys, is that she was asking, she knew what she wanted, she just didn't know how to structure it. So that's another thing. When you guys are in your areas and your markets, you guys are the experts on terms, right? So you're able to speak to it. And once you totally understand it, you're a valuable resource for them. And if you're able to structure things, you're bringing value to the market, and it's going to pay you back, right? So in this case, she didn't know how to do all that. She knew about what she wanted to do, but I can help her get there. So for a fee, I can do that, right? And I can help her structure it where she can stay in it long term, and I'll still make great money off of all those properties.
Mike, John Clark posted a note, but it's a good one for you to share some of your calls like next week in the script channel, because I'd love to hear from the master. So let's do that. Let's make that a point. We'll put it in the script channel.
Do you have these particular calls recorded?
This one I don't know. This one she caught me. I mean, I kind of built like a pretty good I don't know, rapport with this lady. And so she caught me a few times when I was just like driving, and I just picked it up. 'Cause I knew it was like on the verge, so I just wanted to jump on it.
All good.
Till I get it. I do the same thing. I'll go ahead and pull up the whiteboard. Let's walk through each one of these deals, and then we'll kind of bring it all together. Sign out deal, mod 6. I believe is what it.
Mod 5.
Mod 5.
Rusty.
Did you know?
It would know.
Yeah. So what you're simply doing is you're agreeing upon a price, monthly payment, and a time frame with the seller. Basically, we're structuring a lease purchase terms, and then that piece of paper allows you to then go to your market of rent-to-own buyers. Then what you're going to do is you're going to put together a buyer package as if you were going to place them in the house for one of your deals. Like if you are, just think about it, you'd be doing the same exact process as if you were buying it or controlling it. But instead of you now taking over that buyer, we're going to assign that buyer package to the seller. We're going to then take part of the non-refundable deposit. The seller is going to as well. And now the buyer and seller are going to work together.
And guys, when Mike described why he did it, so when are these appropriate? Well, Mike just told you he couldn't see a way for him to stay in it with an investor who also wanted to make money, so there was no extra profit without making the deal wonky. Or there's the monthly's so high that you can't see getting there, or frankly the price is too high. Anything that doesn't fit for you in the sub 2 or lease purchase world or financing world, you would do this, and it's great for people that are landlords. She was an investor landlord. She understood what was going on, so she can handle it. If you do what's best for them, I posted a call in the script channel last week with an AO that I pivoted to for Jessica, because I said to the two guys, they were doing STRs, I said, you don't need us. You're going to make more money if we do an assign out, and they appreciate it. So just do what's right for the seller and you'll win every time.
Great, big point. Also, let's walk through the first deal that you started with. And you said that the location you don't love. So where's I'm just curious.
You know, it's not too far from. It's about 20. It's in Fresno, but it's not in the greatest part. So I don't know. I just didn't feel too comfortable taking on those houses long term there. And with what she wanted to do with it, I felt like it was perfect just to do an AO, grab my fee and pass it along to her, right, and let her deal with it. So that's why. That's all. You know, I have my box, right? Not my box. I don't like to say box, but I know what I wanted. I've been around long enough where I have my avatar of homes of what I want to work with, right? Of course, I'm not going to pass up on a deal. If she was more willing to give up some of her cash flow and some profits, maybe I definitely would have jumped on it. But for the amount that she was willing to give up, it wasn't worth it for me in my time. So I'd rather just take a fee and walk.
Great points. Okay. So you have a sign out deal. It's a for sale by owner. What's the, what did you agree to for a purchase price? Or if you know the debt equity, we can walk through that as well.
Yeah. So they're free and clear. 325 is the minimum price.
Okay. And how much are you guys going for to the open market?
I just got these deals. I was thinking 25 grand I'm going to put on top.
So like 350?
Just put, 350. More than likely going to push it up there.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So we got 350 property. I'm just curious, like, what does the seller want for a monthly payment on this? Like, I want to like hear.
Yeah. So this is what I told her. I'm like, hey, look, you know, I want it to be competitive in the market, right? We can't just overprice and just, just sit there and let the property sit. We want to get activity. We want to get a good buyer in here. And we want to get eyeballs on this thing, right? We want to get people to look at it and then pick the best person that fits what you want to do with this property, and by pricing it too high, we're not going to get that. So I told her we want to be, in line with what the rental market is, just to get that action. So on this property here, it's 20, I have it right here. It's 2150 on this one and then 2350 on the other one, just because it has an extra bedroom.
So $2150 for this particular property.
Yep.
And I'm curious on like when you're going through the process of trying to buy it, let's say on owner financing or using all the other strategies, was she just not willing to budge on the monthly payment?
Yeah, she wasn't willing to budge. On top of that, she wanted to make the interest. She wanted to do all that stuff. There was no room for me to stay in the middle. You know, she wanted to basically do what we would do if we stayed in the middle and sold the property, right? So I figured, you know what, I'm not going to keep pushing her for it. I'd rather just take these, get them under contract. You never know. Things could change, right? These aren't set in stone. If I come across a good buyer, maybe that could fit, I could always go back to her and say, hey, let me take it over, you know, and we'll do this structure, right? Does this work, right? And we could always go back and change it.
I hope you guys are catching all these nuggets. Mike's just dropping them like it's nothing because he's been doing this for a while now. But all these deals, you don't have to fret and stress over trying to get to the end zone to get on the contract. Get it on the contract and go back and renegotiate once you have a buyer in hand. The difference there is, if I'm talking to Ken as my seller, my conversation's entirely different when I have a buyer in my pocket than theory and concept. Entirely different. So just get the thing on the contract and go back and negotiate if you want to or can.
I'm just giving you guys these numbers. I know Mike isn't making this money, but this is how, when you're talking with a seller, you can be like, do you want to get your price? Do you want to make monthly cash flow? And do you want to have a buyer in your house versus a tenant? So this particular lady is going to make basically $51,000 over 24 months. It's free and clear minus taxes. Taxes and insurance. Taxes and insurance. So she's got great cash flow. What was she on the market for as far as for sale by now?
Well, these weren't on the market yet. Her primary residence, the $1.2 million property, that's how I got her on the physical.
This is interesting. Can you talk about station, Mike?
So we started talking. She, you know, I was basically explaining what I do. So she was very interested in that because she was already thinking to sell these properties with that process, right? And so that's why she was more interested in me and in my value that I brought. And she said, I have these 2 homes that I'm remodeling. They're almost done. She gave me the addresses. I did some research on them. And once I finally got her, you know, I explained to her how this is going to work, and we went over our details on what she wanted to make on it and whatnot. That's when I went out to the property. I don't know if you remember, Chris, it basically took all day because I went to all 3 properties that day with her. But anyways, yeah, it just, the conversation, one thing led to another, and she ended up having those other 2. So I jumped on them, of course, to grab them all.
Mike, what you for the non-refundable deposit? What's your split?
Well, we're going to go 50-50 on this one. I mean, I gave in because there's multiple homes. So I usually wouldn't go that even on this price point. But yeah,
Conversation, all right? Like when you split, it's simple conversation.
It's simple. Yeah, it's a simple conversation, 50-50. And then she wants to require the buyer to have 20% overtime, of course, to you know, convert it to owner financing for the buyer, so they won't have to go to a bank. So we're going to split it 50-50 until my fee is met.
With Jack, 5, right? Because you're increasing by $25,000.
Yeah. So as the payments come in, as the additional down payments come in, we'll keep splitting it 50-50 until I hit $25,000.
Oh, until you hit $25,000.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. I thought you were at to split it. All right. Good.
Zach, also, Judy had a question. You put minus taxes, but the buyer's going to pay the taxes. That's like, so good point, Judy.
Well, I meant for pure cash flow, because she has a free and clear property. She's going to get $21.50 a month.
Plus taxes, right, Mike, or no?
No, she's going to get $21.50, and then her taxes are going to come out of that. That's all in.
Oh, okay. That's why, Judy.
All right, I made an assumption. You're good. Good point, you. I'm glad.
You made the right one, though.
Yeah.
Day 3 getting called out. This is good. I'd love walking. Okay. Because I would just want to calculate what the seller is going to make too. Because interesting enough, I know we have some people in all different spaces right now. Like when Jose came on, one of our community members. He had some rentals, and I just kind of wanted to share with you guys this because he had some rentals, and instead of continuing to rent, he actually transitioned them to rent to homes. So
He just cashed out his payday 3. If you guys have rentals, Nick helped Jose do this a few years ago, and he just cashed out his payday 3 on his rental. His all 3 paydays on that rental was $83,000 approximately, and he was going to turn that around and put another tenant in it and collect the measly security, which he had to give back. So if you have some properties, Gina Rosatelli is going to do one with us, one of hers. So if you have rentals, please chat with the coaches about it because you're way better off than being a landlord and having those headaches.
So all I was suggesting is this lady potentially wanted $325, right? If she went and sold traditionally, she would net $325. If she got her price, which we all know is roughly 97% of what is at the asking is. So this particular seller is, she's instead gonna net within 24 months almost $375,000 versus $325. This is pretty. That's like Chris and I say. Like, if as soon as you get really good at this, you go to a house and you're on an appointment and you draw a T chart and you're like, here's what you're gonna make on the open market. Here's what you're gonna potentially make with us. Here's your price. Here's your potential non-refundable deposit. Here's your cash flow, and away we go. Actually, the seller, if she's gonna now become the bank, she's gonna make probably like close to $500,000. So it's just,
Yeah, and this is why, guys, when we were in our peak, Zach and I and Nick, there were months where we did 10 take-ins because AOs are a lot easier and palatable to a seller for obvious reasons. They're usually making, even up front, forget the cash flow, they're usually making more than they were going to get at the market. It's a no-brainer for someone that can wait. Now, keep in mind, it's one payday for you. I don't want to get you into the seat, like transactional seat. Mike has a bunch of other deals, right? So this was a very good variety for him, but you go out and do 30 of these and you sort of got a transactional job going on. So just be careful with it.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't water that down. For some of you, that transactional job would be 10 times what you're making. So either way, I don't know every situation.
There's just some rough things. I'm just walking through a T-chart, right? I just wanted to show you like how my brain was working. I know these numbers. Don't try to call me out. I was guessing it. I was saying 325. 97% of your asking price. Minus 5% on realtor commissions. I know there's stuff going on with NAR. They don't think you can get 6% anymore. So my minus 5. Minus any potential holding costs. I just came. It's probably even less than 290. But I went to 290. And then Mike says, all right, well, here's how it works with Mike. We're gonna get 325, and instead of all these subtractions, just visually, plus you're gonna get part of it. Did you agree to give her any type of non-refundable deposit, or you just agreed to the 325?
Say that again, Zach. I'm sorry.
Are you giving her any deposit? You are, right?
Out of the 20, the
50-50.
50, we're splitting 50-50. Yeah. So
what? But her highest. Because you're gonna net everything that you're raising the price on, right? 20.
Exactly. The 25 grand that I'm raising it, I'm getting all 25 of that. We're pushing the buyers to put 20% down over time. So even if they, let's just say, get up to 10% over the first, year or a year and a half, that'll still be 35 grand, right? So she'd get 15, and I'd get, or somewhere around there. She'd get 10.
Yeah, she gets cat. She gets cat.
Yeah, so So she's not getting more on top of her 325 is what I'm trying to tell you out of the deposit, but she's making it on the payments and everything else.
Here's what I'm saying though, guys. So good point, Mike. So even if that, because I know she wants to do financing, by simply just giving her a price and then giving her the cash flow, this is just in 24 months, she's gonna net 375 before financing, meaning like before she wants to finance that. Or more at this point in time. So she makes like $80,000 more by waiting 24 months and doing it this route.
Super important point for everybody to know, because I think there's even some community members that don't know this. Mike and I filmed 2 videos for AO. One is in the Associate Resource Center and it's training for you. One is available for you to put on your website or send it to your sellers, where we speak right to your seller. Kind of makes it a no-brainer. Again, remember I told you guys when Zach was showing the associate levels yesterday, I said there's all kinds of other stuff that goes on that we don't talk about. And that's one of them. Like, there's a video that speaks to your sellers. There's a video that speaks to your realtors in your center of influence. These things are done for you.
Love it. Yeah, Larry. Well, we'll just take questions over. We'll just keep it flowing. Go ahead. Hey, you got to unmute though.
Mike, what are you doing to sell the property? How are you marketing it?
Same way as we always do, but we're offering seller financing to the buyer if certain criteria are met, right? So they're going to buy it on a lease purchase for the first 2 years, and if they have good payment history with her and no late payments, and they've built up to 20% down, they're going to qualify to get financing through her long-term 15. She's even willing to go to 30. She says she's not worried about cashing out. She knows she's going to make a lot of money on it. That's why.
This is great. So what I was wondering is, how are you marketing it to the community? How are you attracting buyers?
As we always do. We're just going to sell it on a lease purchase. Sell it like a lease purchase. Rent to own.
No different marketing, Larry. All right. It's the same marketing. You're going to list it with Prosperity. You're also going to do your own launching. REI Black Book now has a property launch feature. Same stuff. These conversations are going to be a little different for potential owner financing, but same stuff.
So if we have like a sub 2, I mean, I don't want to get too deep into this, but we would probably offer the same. We could offer the same thing if we really wanted to, right? If we had a great buyer, we had no end date. We could basically do the same structure, right? And we would put these same, conditions in to allow them to qualify, right? To protect yourself. So I'm just doing her a good and just kind of helping her out there and how to structure that. And she trusts me, and it should work well.
You could flip it too. There's so much that go through my mind. Like, because if you're already agreeing to 50-50 non-refundable deposits and you get a really good buyer,
yeah,
actually flip that.
That's why I wanted to take it to market first and say, hey, worst case scenario, let's just get this tied up. Let's take it to market. I could always go back, and she is very receptive on what I explained to her, and we could possibly convert it. You never know.
So I'm using that could get confusing for people. When I said flip it, I mean like change positions with the seller. Like,
there you go.
Still split the non-refundable deposits that are coming in, but Mike owns it. If you guys end up going that route. So I said flip it. I don't mean actually fix and flip it. I just want to clarify.
And Adam asked about the T-chart. Adam, the T-chart's also in the videos that we did for you guys. You could do a T-chart like Zach did. In your second T-chart, you could do if the seller was open, you could compare sandwich to AO side by side too. But he wanted you to show that again, Zach.
Yep. I think this is the easiest way to describe any type of, especially an AO, in comparison. Here's what we think you're going to get traditionally. Here's what you're going to get from us.
Okay, couple things. Yoni asked what interest rate she's carrying these at. There's no interest rate right now, Yoni. She's going to start as a regular rent to own. And as Mike said, if the buyer jumps through certain hoops, stays on time, gets a deposit of 20, then she'll turn around and owner finance the buyer. That's a safer way, in my opinion, to do that versus jumping right to owner financing. So I like what Mike helped her understand. That's a little different than conventional Yoni. And if the seller is going to stay on capital gain, there's no gains until she sells it. The to own is just a vehicle for now. If she decides to then convert it to owner financing, she'll pay her capital gains over time based on her basis and her exposure. But you're never saving. You can kick it up over time if you want. And again, that doesn't kick in until she actually sells it. Rental income is basically equity or principal paid out for the buyer. Neither, Yoni. All these rent-to-own deals we do, all of them, do not give the buyer credit for principal pay down, or else they'd never want to go get a loan, right? You probably never get them out of there.
Exceptions, right? I mean, Nick always says it, like, we can talk about it. If you're coming to the table with 20% down, then we can have another conversation.
Yeah, I shouldn't cement us. Yeah, you can get creative. The other thing we do is we have I don't want to get too crazy here, but just to plant the seed with you guys, we have what's called an equity enhancement program. you guys don't have to do it. We do it. We allow buyers to put up to $500 a month, extra principal pay down. And if they do, we give them a 50% of that as a credit off of the price at cash up. So if they put $500 down, goes towards their deposit, goes towards bringing the deposit up, knocking what they owe down. But we also give $250 off the price in the back end. Why don't we do that? Cash flow. Number one. Number two, invest them in the home more. You get someone putting down that money every month or whatever, we can do that kind of promo. They're more invested in the home, they're less likely to walk away. So that's why we do it. A couple times a year, we'll run a promo and say, hey, this month only, if you put down up to $1,000, we'll credit $1,000 off your price if we're looking to generate some cash flow. All kinds of little techniques that over the years we've just kind of tweaked. Good questions.
Steven, raise your hand, then we'll go Debbie.
Yes, sir. I wanted to check with Mike again and say, you're getting the 12,500 or 25 down, but did you make arrangement with the seller to be able to get that money, the other 12,500, through the cash flow every month? Or how did you go about getting the other 12,500 from the seller? Mike?
It's gonna come through the additional deposits that are made by the buyer. So when we set up our AOs, the deposits come through us, so we have control of the money. So as the deposits come in, we initially want to set them up to put 10% down over time, right? Probably 5 to 7% up front, and then the remaining over time. And if it's coming through me, I'll just keep my portion and send her the remaining. So that way I have control. So it's coming.
You got a specific date?
Yeah, there will be specific
Down
dates.
payments, like every 3 months, every quarter,
Wait.
6 months, or what?
Yeah, and that's not figured out until we have discussions with the buyer and what they could do, right? So we'll have those discussions and nail down those dates once we pick our buyer and once they've identified what they're able to do.
Steve, let me chime in here too. These are good questions for everyone to hear. So thank you. In the buyer meeting package and checklist, there's a point in the buyer's meeting, Stephen, where you'll get to the point where you say, okay, great. And Nick will do this with you, but you'll start to find out when they can and how they can put down extra. Example, in February or March, how much do you get for your tax refund? Well, I get 10 grand. Great. Do you think you could commit 4 of that? There's things like that. So that would be yearly. We had years rather, where in February and March, we had pre-scheduled like $250,000 in payday ones coming in from tax return. It can be a big time of the year for you. So, and then we had a sergeant in the state trooper once who was getting retroactive sergeant pay, and he committed some of that. So you just got to get to know the person, and that's in the package that we help you with. It's in the buyer mod.
Okay. All right, thanks.
You bet.
Debbie, did you still have a question? I think you disappeared.
Yeah, no, it got answered. Thank you.
Oh, damn. And then everyone else's questions disappeared as well. Okay. The other, can we market through own channels in a parallel to the efforts of Prosperity? Yes, you absolutely should. We still market on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, you name it. Anything that Prosperity.io does not.
That's awesome, because we always say we've done few things for the associates that we're like, let's think outside the box, guys. You get a property, you do everything you can to get it sold.
Yeah, plus signs, right? I would still encourage you to do the old bandit signs, the rent-to-own signs with the arrows at those. You just never know who's going to drive by property consistently. And then REI Black Book also does promote to about 6 other sites as well. So when you launch it through REI Black Book. So between Prosperity and REI Black Book, I think you're launching like 55 different websites, and then you just have to do the other main ones.
I don't think we talked about that, Zach, and we don't have to go into detail, but I think we should put a link if Peter or Shane could do that for REI Black Book, because Rick and some of the other coaches and Zach spent hours and hours building workflows specific to what we do. You guys can have access to that through REI Black Book using our system. That's going to save you just an inordinate amount of time, plus you're going to be much more efficient.
Yeah, we just had a shortened amount of time, and unfortunately Damon Redmond was on vacation, so we didn't have him come speak, but typically he will. yeah, if you just go to smartrealestatecoach.com/REI Black Book. We put in a ton of work in order to ensure that we have a great CRM for managing these leads.